So we're looking at the sagittal view of the human brain model for Bio 157. So this right up here, once again, is the cerebrum. And this structure right here, this is the corpus callosum. And this is the only structure that connects the left hemisphere, which is what you're seeing, to the right hemisphere. Below that right here, this is the fornix. So this is corpus callosum. This is called the fornix right here. Now, the next structure is called the first lateral ventricle. And a ventricle is a cavity. And if I take this off, you're going to see that there is part of a cavity there that you can see. And so that is the first lateral ventricle, which is on the left hemisphere. And there is a corresponding ventricle on the right, which is the second lateral ventricle. There is a membrane that connects these ventricles, and that is this membrane right here, and that is called the septum pellucidum. So that is the septum pellucidum. There is a third cavity, a third ventricle, and that's what this is right here. Is actually a small little cavity right there, which is a third ventricle. Now this goes down through this structure here called the cerebral aqueduct to this cavity right there, which is the fourth ventricle. So that is the fourth ventricle right there. Coming back up to the third ventricle, the walls of the third ventricle are two parts of our brain. This area right here is known as the thalamus. This area here is the hypothalamus. So this is the thalamus here. This is the hypothalamus here. And right in the middle of the thalamus is this little dot there, and that is known as the interthalamic adhesion. Now at the top of the third ventricle, right here, this structure is called the choroid plexus. So that is the choroid plexus. So this cavity here is the third ventricle. This brain region in this area is the thalamus. This brain region in that area is the hypothalamus. And then that is the interthalamic adhesion. Once again, this is the choroid plexus. Coming off of the hypothalamus, you can see that is the pituitary gland right there. Other structures that we can see here is there is the mammillary body. You can also see the pineal gland here, right there. This area of our brain is the midbrain. This once again is the pons. And down here is the medulla oblongata. So midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Over here, this brain region is our cerebellum. And within the cerebellum, you can see this white lines coming out. This is known as the arbor vitae. Arbor means tree because it has a tree-like appearance, and vitae means life. It literally means tree of life, but that's found within our cerebellum. The last structure that we're going to show you here is called the hippocampus, and the hippocampus is found on the floor of the lateral ventricles. So it's in this area here. So this is the first lateral ventricle, this is the floor of that first lateral ventricle, and that is the hippocampus.